It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and this is news that you can use from CarEdge for Thursday, June 13th, with your hosts. Oh my God, we both forgot to put on our collared shirts today. I'm Ray, that's Zach. Hey, I forgot. How about you?
I wore my CarEdge t-shirt on purpose because today's sponsor, folks, is CarEdge.com. That is our company. If we can help you out buying a car, selling a car, everything with a car, we've got all sorts of promotions and things running back on CarEdge.com. Please go check it out. Dad, we spoke about this a bit yesterday. We're going to dig in as the main story today. Car price inflation. In May, as is typical in the U.S. market, 4 of the top 10 best-selling vehicles in the U.S. were full-size pickup trucks. When we talked about this data yesterday, I don't think it really clicked for me how much Ram, Chevy, and Ford are really making it very difficult for their customers to buy their products. The average transaction price for pickup trucks in the United States of America has gone up significantly. And then when we look at, I'll pull it up on the screen in just a moment, when we look at the MSRP increases from these manufacturers, it is ridiculous, Dad. I'll pull that up right here. I'll share this tab. Car price inflation is up significantly more than inflation overall.
Yes.
Ram, the worst, Stellantis there on the chart, over a 50% MSRP increase in the past 5 years. Ford right behind them at 37% increase in the past 5 years, and GM at a 30% increase in the past 5 years. Why are these automakers screwing their customers, Dad? Why are they only making these expensive vehicles that seemingly no one can afford?
You want the real answer? Because they can. Okay, that's the real answer. It's kind of simple. It's almost as if we've reverted back to the 50s, 60s, and 70s when the concept for U.S. automobile manufacturers were whatever we will build, people will buy. Okay, it's just that simple. We will dictate to the U.S. population what it is that they need to buy. And then we kind of got more consumer driven, and Asian brands came in, and then the Korean brands came in, and competition was a little stronger, and maybe we started leaning more towards the consumer, and it went from you'll buy whatever we build to, well, you'll tell us what you want us to build so you can buy it. And
that's how Toyota became so popular.
Yes. And now it seems as if many of the manufacturers are just reverting back to the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And they're just going to build whatever the hell it is they want to build, whether the vast majority of Americans can afford it. Go ahead.
I think Drew's got the $1 million question. How can they both be making it so hard for customers to buy? By pricing the vehicles the way they do, by working with dealer partners that make it difficult, etc., while also holding nearly half of the best-selling vehicles list. At the end of the day, Dad, I actually think the finger goes right back to the consumer who's justifying a $1,500 a month payment on that Ram 1500. That's where the finger ultimately, like, capitalism's capitalism. If we can make a boatload of money selling $75,000 Ram 1500s, Ford F-150s, GMC Sierras, Chevy Silverados, why not?
Well, yeah. If there's a big enough swath of the American population that will still participate, yeah, you can. But if you're doing that and you're excluding 83% or 80% of the population, it just seems to me mathematically that that's not a real solid long-term plan. Yeah, the world's population is increasing. The population in the United States is increasing. So, yeah, 17% of the American population that can actually afford to buy your product ultimately is increasing because population's increasing. But is that really enough? Can you really grow your business the way you'd like to grow your business by excluding 83% of the potential buyers out there? That's the real question that has to be asked. And as we've seen, Chevy, Ford, Ram, they're screwing their customers. And for just a minor plug, CarEdge, we're the protection car shoppers need. It's
Definitely.
just that simple because we can help people save some money as for the screwing they're getting.
Now, that being said, the automakers are aware of this. This is something we
Yeah,
didn't talk about, but the CFO of Ford came out and said that rising inventory levels, quote, worries me. The goal for inventory at dealerships is 50 to 60 days supply. You guys know I love doing this. Let's do it all together. Let's
yes,
do a live search. Let's go to the car search right now and let's search for some Ford product. And we're going to stick with trucks for the moment. We're not even going to go down the EV path, which could be even more damning.
yes.
I'm currently located in New Jersey. That's what this Toms River, New Jersey. That's what my zip code is. If you want to see different vehicles, obviously you can change your zip code. And let's just look at 2024s. None of these have sky high MSRPs. These are actually cheap F-150s right here. The first 3 that have shown up, the first 5 that have shown up. These are all relatively low priced. But let's click into one of them. We'll do this XLT that's on the more expensive side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down, Dad, and I'm going to look at the market days supply. And there you go, 143 days supply. So no wonder there's 1,734 of these for sale. This year, make, model, and trim within 100 miles of this one, but only 544 have sold in the past 45 days. No wonder the CFO at Ford is saying it worries me.
You know,
The
no wonder
prices are
he's
too high
worried.
and customers aren't buying them.
Yeah, no wonder he's worried. Yeah, and I believe he said in the confines of that article that perhaps we need to pay a bit more attention to what it is that the customers want to buy as opposed to what it is that we as the manufacturer want to build. So yeah, if I was the CFO of Ford, I would be concerned with that. If I was the CEO of Ford, I would be concerned with that. If I was somebody working on the assembly line, I would be concerned with that because at a certain point, they're going to start cutting back production. If they can't get anywhere near the 50 to 60-day supply of vehicles, and they're 3 times where they want to be, well, at a certain point, you're going to cut back production so that you can fall within those guidelines that you've set. So yeah, if I worked at Ford in any department, I would be concerned at the moment.
Without a doubt, Pops. Absolutely, without a doubt. And that leads me to our favorite, I hate to say it this way, but punching bag, Stellantis. Let's look at a Ram.
Yes.
Let's look at the Ram 1500s. Let's do that real quick. There's 62,799 Ram 1500s, new ones for sale nationwide. Not seeing low price points here. Let's click on one of the new 2025s. Those things must be selling like hotcakes.
Sure they are.
Drum roll, please. 339 days supply of the 2025s. 504 for sale within 100 miles of this one. 67 have sold in the last 45 days. Let's look at one of the 2024s. Let me go to year. Cap it at 2024. 20,000 of them out there. Look at these price points, man. The whole first row is 80 grand.
Well, that's why they're still there.
And let's do a drum roll, please. Oh, 81 days supply. So they're starting to sell down the 2024s. That's
well.
good news.
That would be a good thing to do if you've already released the 2025s. Do me a favor, do the new 2023s. Because I bet you there's dealers that have them.
Yeah. 1 second. 2023. There's still 3,000 new 2023s out there. God, that's disgusting.
Yes.
107 days supply. I mean, this dealer has had this vehicle for 525 days.
Well, if it were me, I would refuse to sell it because I want to celebrate its second birthday with it.
These truck prices are nuts, man. Absolutely nuts. And the fact that they make up 40% of the fastest, or excuse me, not fastest, but the highest volume vehicles being sold is a testament to people wanting big full-size pickup trucks, which I don't fully understand, but evidently that's a status thing and people are buying.
Well, I'm going to say it in a way that's going to piss some people off. Well, it's a testament to stupidity. Okay? I get that we as human beings, human nature is we all want to have nice things. I get that. There's nothing wrong with that. But If you have to stretch your budget in such a way that you have no other money left over in order for you to have those nice things, if your car payment has to be $1,200, $1,300, $1,500 a month for one of those $80,000 trucks, that doesn't show, in my opinion, that doesn't show good common sense. It, if God forbid anything happens to you or your spouse, if both of you are working, and if one or both of you were to lose your high paying job, what happens then? Okay, I know we don't ever like to think about what the future may hold, but I can assure you, having lived 73 years, that there are as many downs as there are ups in that roller coaster ride called life. There are unexpected things that will happen that suddenly you're going to be sitting there going, well, what I could really afford is maybe a $500 a month payment, not a $1,500 a month payment. How can I make that happen? And because you're going to be so upside down, you're not going to be able to. So I think it's a sense of arrogance and stupidity on behalf of many of the people out there who purchase these things because, well, I want the best. Get the best that you can afford, not the best that you can stretch for.
I think there's a great comment here from JK Marshall, and we'll switch gears in just a second. JK says the auto industry is not a growth business, hasn't been for the past 3 decades, as new car sales have basically been flat despite a growing population.
Yes.
I think this continues to hit on the affordability crisis, Dad, because JK is spot on.
Well, auto sales have actually... It's longer than 3 decades. It's more like almost 5 decades.
Yeah, auto sales is not like some fast, rapid growing category of our economy. It's just a massive one that continues to be entrenched. And you've got to think it has to do with the fact that it costs, what is the data from Cox? It's like 45 weeks worth of pay is what it costs to get into a car. Like their affordability index based on how much you take home, it's ridiculous. It's gone up significantly. And it's because, to your point, Dad, people have convinced themselves that they can stretch into multi-$1,000 payments on their car note. And again, 40% of the top 10 highest volume sellers are $60,000+ pickup trucks.
When I went for my annual physical on Monday, and the doctor and I were having a conversation about cars, and we were having a conversation about my car, and that, at best, maybe I put 2,500 miles a year on a car. And between insurance and my lease payment, and insurance keeps going up, I'm at around $600 a month. And I said, I have 11 months left on my lease. And this very well might be my last car. I said, because I don't know that I could ever take enough Ubers in 1 month to spend $600 unless, I don't know, I asked them to take me from here to LA. I just, for my little trips, for where I have to go, do I really need to spend $600 a month? And let's face it, $600 a month in today's world is inordinately inexpensive.
I mean, what's the percentage of customers that pay over $1,000 a month? It's like a non-trivial amount.
It was close to 20%. And so I think to myself, I don't know. I can take that $600 a month and maybe spend $200 a month in Ubers and I don't know, put another $400 a month away.
So let me ask you this question, Dad. This comes on the heels of the CFO of Ford, and there's other Ford news that, we're going to it early. Hit us with an ad lib.
Really? You didn't see this coming?
Really, you've got to be kidding me, folks. Ford ends their EV certification program, reopening sales to all dealers. Ford is allowing entire dealer network to sell EVs starting July 1st in a bid to better serve customers. No, it's in a bid to liquidate inventory that's overpriced and people don't want to buy. And I think that's important to bring up here in the context of a conversation around affordability and consumers making the choice of, am I going to Uber everywhere? Or am I going to buy a car? Ford is on plan B, folks. Originally, they were going to charge dealers an immense amount of money to sell EVs. And now they're not.
And if you didn't sign up for the top tier, which would allow you an unlimited supply of EVs, and those dealers that had signed up for the top tier are all probably choking on their unlimited supply of EVs. Or you could sign up for the inexpensive tier, which meant that you could get 25 EVs for your store in any given year. 25, 2 a month. Okay. So we went from those programs to, hey, it would just be easier for all of our customers. Well, if they could buy and service these damn EVs at any of our dealers. Yeah, Ford made a huge mistake. Ford, we're not admitting that it was an error in judgment. Okay, don't admit it. Don't say it. But that's what it was. And the dealers, I will say this as nicely as I can. The dealers who signed up for the most expensive certification program where they had to invest $1.2 million so that they could be exclusive electric vehicle Ford dealers in their market area, they should have their damn heads examined. If
I wonder
Ford
what's going to happen for them.
What was this?
You think they're going to get like a refund? Like, I wonder what's going to happen there.
I think the next time Jim Farley stopped by my store, I'd ask him to open up the checkbook. I think I'd ask him for some reimbursement. And Ford's way of the reimbursement will be, well, we'll give you a few more EVs to make up for it.
So are not all of these things correlated and interconnected, Dad? We started the conversation with, how the hell are these automakers justifying their insane price points for their full-size pickup trucks? And then we realized, okay, it's because consumers are willing to pay these inordinate prices and extend themselves in their budget. Yes. However, the CFO of one of these major companies, Ford, has come out and said, I am very worried right now that inventory levels are too high. And so market forces would then suggest that you need to find a way to reduce supply so that, or increase demand. How do you do that? Well, you reduce supply by removing barriers to be able to sell your inventory, aka what Ford just did with their EV program here. They removed a barrier. They were penalizing supply for a period there. Now they're trying to get anyone and their brother to wholesale buy those EVs from them, and you have to increase demand. How do you do that? You lower price. So I feel like we're on the precipice of a really big continued reset in prices. However, all of the data shows that new car transaction prices are not going down significantly. That's where eventually, eventually the bubble's got to burst, man. Because the inventory just can't sit there forever. Yeah, I do think. And I want to pull up Derek's comment here. Someone needs to go into a dealer and make an offer on a 2023 model and ask if they want to sell it before it qualifies for historic plates. We've been doing more videos over on the CarEdge channel where I call dealers and we record the conversations and we share them online. Let me know in the chat. Would you be interested in me trying to get offers or OTDs on some 2022 Ram 1500s, 2023 Ram 1500s? Because I want to understand the dealer rationale for holding on to this inventory. It makes no sense to me, Dad.
Well, I don't understand the dealer rationale when they do that. Having been in retail.
You got to increase demand, man. You got to increase demand. How do you increase demand? You lower the price.
How many times can I say that the area vice president that I worked under in Arizona, John used to always say, if the customer hasn't said yes yet, it's only because you haven't lowered the price enough. You keep lowering the price until they finally say yes. There's not a lot of mystery to this. And let me amend that. Maybe there is some mystery to this. And the reason I say maybe there's some mystery, because we know that average transaction prices for pickup trucks in this country is approaching $70,000 on average. Okay? And the mystery would be, what is wrong with those people that are buying those vehicles? And then why is there such difficulty in selling vehicles that are under $40,000? So as much as I bash the manufacturers, maybe I should give them. I mean, they've convinced at least 17% of the population in America that it's okay to way overpay for whatever vehicle you want to buy. It is okay to accept a car payment in excess of $1,000 a month for 20% of the people who finance their vehicles. That seems ludicrous to me. And yet, for 20% of the population that actually buys and finances their vehicle, that seems rational. I don't know how you marry those two, but many of the manufacturers apparently seem to be figuring it out. So I don't know. I guess I'm just perplexed.
I also feel perplexed. We've got another really, you've got to be kidding me in just a moment. Before we do, coming here to the chat from Matthew Hoskin. Thank you, Matthew. True, but once most households went from one car to two, they sort of topped out. Population growth has slowed dramatically and used cars are more reliable. It's a good point about why new car auto sales have not necessarily increased significantly.
Are used cars more reliable?
The average age of the U.S. fleet keeps getting older and older.
It's like 12 and a half years. So are used cars really more reliable? Are dealers even doing minimal reconditioning before they sell some of these used cars, before they pawn them off to the next buyer? I don't know. And
Dad, if the age of the fleet keeps going up, I don't know how you can make the argument that used cars are not more reliable, because the age of the fleet every single year gets older and older and older.
Yeah, but people can be driving pieces of crap.
They're still driving.
Yeah, and parts of it might be held together by duct tape for all I know. It's concerning to me because the cost of those vehicles has continued to go up. The cost to drive an older vehicle has gone up dramatically. Now, I know our dear friend Brandon in Car Questions Answered. I mean, he would tell you right now that at least he's starting to see some of those values dropping to where he's able to pick them up much less expensively than what he had to pay for them in the past. So I guess that part of it's a good sign, but it's just, you can't. How do you sell a 16-year-old car for, I don't know, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000? How's a 16-year-old car with 250,000 miles on it? Somebody buys it for $8,000, and in 3 months the engine goes out of it or something, and they own an $8,000 paperweight.
Yeah.
I don't know.
From Dane here, thank you, Dane, for the kind contribution. I was able to get a GMC Sierra 2500 with a $101,000 MSRP for $105,000 out the door here in Southern California. Now, some of you might read those numbers. All of us read those numbers and say, holy cow, big numbers. The second thing is, that's probably a really good deal because taxes and fees in California are what, maybe like 12, 15%?
Probably 11 to 12%. Yeah.
So out the door means with all taxes, sales tax, fees, everything like that. So that means you probably got the dealer to discount at what, like 6-7%, 8%, something like that. That's
probably,
that's awesome.
But I mean, if Dane can afford to pay us $10 so that we could talk about this story, I mean, what is Dane's monthly payment if he financed it?
Let us know, Dane.
And I don't want to pick on Dane, but how do you justify whatever that payment is? And maybe,
your rule is 10%. You've got the 10% rule. There's people that make a boatload of money. And
maybe for Dane, that he makes more than enough money that it is affordable. It just seems out of reach.
$100,000 pickup trucks are just hard for me to grasp. We've got here from Aaron Rodea. Thank you, Aaron, for the kind contribution. Ban. Just community member, man. Just a community member from Michigan. 2024 Kia Forte GT manual Kia. Whoa.
Wow.
$23,000 out the door, 0 down, 3-year, 12,000 miles per year on a lease, $330 a month payment. Good or bad? Sounds good. Sounds good. $330 a month payment sounds good to me. I don't know. I would ask on the community forum, Aaron. I could actually here. Let me do a quick. We can see if we can find a Kia Forte. But you were hesitating, Dad. I just got enamored with a $330 a month payment. That excites me.
I think it's a tad high for a lease.
All right, help us understand why.
Because it's a $23,000 car, and you would think a $23,000 car, even with 0 down, should be leasing in the 2s, not the 3s.
Got it. I'm just curious what our algorithm. Yeah, it says very little discount, but well, yeah, even to that
very
point,
much. Yeah. There's hardly any margin in it, to begin with. I mean, I get that, but.
So what would your question to Aaron be? Does he have a residual value, a money factor?
That's what we need to know. It's one thing to say you got $23,000 out the door, but realistically on a lease, what you're negotiating is the selling price to the lease company. Now, what you need to know is what's the residual, what was the agreed upon cap cost, and what is the money factor. And then from there, you can figure out whether or not it was a good deal. I'm just thinking that a $23,000 car should probably be leasing in the mid 2s at most.
This is why we yin and yang. Thank you, Dad, for that. Again, I love the idea of sub $500 a month payments. But Aaron, post the information that my dad just asked for on the community forum. It's 100% free, CarEdge.com/community. Let's see if we can help you out even more. From Baron of Gray Matter. Thank you, Baron of Gray Matter. What do higher end dealerships do with high end trade-ins that have been on their lots for 6 months or more? They don't lower the prices at all. Crazy. This sounds similar to one of the owners you worked for that definitely didn't want you to reduce price on anything. Would rather you guys just have the only one in the country.
Yeah, I worked for a gentleman who didn't necessarily believe that you have an aging policy for your used cars. When I was asked at one of our make meetings with other sales managers, they went around the room and they said, "What's the aging policy in your store for used cars? At what point do you get rid of them?" And the sales manager's going 45 days, 60 days, 90-day max. I happened to be the last one that they got to, and when they asked me, I said, "Well, we subscribe to the fine wine aging policy in that we believe every one of our cars gets better with age." I mean, he just did not like to adjust prices downward to help people buy them, because his theory was that ultimately we'd have the only one in the country for somebody to buy, and if they wanted it, they had to pay our price for it, and he was willing to wait as long as it took. So to me, it's crazy. Most dealers have some type of aging policy where they go at a certain point, and I would think the max amount of time it would be, even today, would be 90 days. If you haven't sold the damn thing in 90 days, and you start looking at the pricing like 10, 15 days into once you started advertising, if people aren't coming in on the price at 15 days, you got to start lowering the price to create some interest in the vehicle. And by the time you've reached 60 days, you've reduced the price significantly. As you get even closer to 90 days, it's like, okay, let's take one last shot at this, really lower the price of it. And if we can't sell it at that point, we'll just take it to the auction and whatever we win or lose on the deal, we win or lose. So I don't know how a Highline dealer is holding on the cars for 6 months, because that's expensive. Unless you're paying cash for these cars, that's expensive. And even if you paid cash, the whole idea is to get a return on your investment as quickly as possible, not to wait 2 or 3 years for that, as the gentleman I used to work for.
We've got here from Dane, just following up on his recent GMC truck purchase. Monthly payment is $1,100 a month on a 60-month term at 4.11%. That's incredible for
Yes.
$105,000 out the door. But as Zach says, I'm well within my 10% rule. So there you go, Dad.
Okay,
Affordability looks different across the spectrum. And congrats,
absolutely.
Dane, on a job well done. And hope you
Well,
enjoy
and
the new
and
truck.
if I may, if his payments are $1,100 a
You
month,
put a bunch of money down.
Dane put a poop ton of money down, and so yes, so for him, it can make sense. For a lot of people that are trying to do that, it does not make sense.
Yeah, 100%.
So
We've got here,
congratulations,
Dad,
Dane.
from Hey, it's Bill. Thank you, Hey,
Hey,
it's Bill.
Bill.
Hey, guys. What is your opinion on Ford's X-Plan pricing structure for the F-150? I'm old tightwad and refuse to pay these MSRP plus prices. No MSRP plus prices on any Ford products today. Hey, it's Bill. Absolutely not. You could probably find dealers that would be even more aggressive than the X-Plan price. So I would shop that. I would see which dealers are honoring X-Plan right now and then who could go even lower. Obviously, we can help you out back at CarEdge.com. Do that for you with the car buying service, but you can do it yourself. I would shoot for even lower than X-Plan in today's market where Ford has an oversupply of F-150s.
An oversupply enough that the outgoing CFO is worried about it.
We've got here from Cole. Congratulations, Cole. Last Saturday, I got $2,100 off of MSRP on my new 2025 Mazda CX-70. Thanks for the education on y'all's channel. Congratulations, Cole.
Nicely
Glad
done.
to hear it. We've got from MJB shopping for a Ford Maverick. Use your email template to request OTD from multiple dealers. Not a single response. Just going to take a moment on this. Just Google search CarEdge email templates. They are 100% free. Use them when you reach out to a dealership. And shameless plug, if you are disinterested in doing what that gentleman just described, use our car buying service. Let us do all the hard work for you. It's $1,000, $999. We do it all for you. There is no guarantee that we're going to save you exactly $1,000 so that it pays for itself. That being said, last month, the average savings was $2,300. And traditionally, we've been closer to $3,000 in savings. So take advantage of that as an option if you don't feel like using the free email templates. And then finally, hear from Sean. Ken Gariff Hyundai in Surprise, Arizona, try to tell us that discounts are making their addendums free. They also try and tell me that the addendums don't get taxed. Wow, that is just out of left field. That is bad. Dad, can we?
I was going to say that's a whole new level of lying.
Yeah, exactly. In our opinion. Can you hit me with one more ad lib? We got one more story.
That's not an opinion. That's the truth. What was that?
One more ad lib?
Really? You got to be kidding me.
UAW President Sean Fain under investigation by federal watchdog court filing reveals. United Auto Workers President Sean Fain is under investigation by a court-appointed watchdog tasked with eliminating corruption, according to the federal court filing, one of a series of probes targeting top leaders of the scandal-plagued union. Shaka.
Well, yeah, the UAW throughout its entire history and existence has been troubled with issues, especially from former high-ranking members of the union, monies that have disappeared. They just had issues, okay? And, Sean Fain won an election based on he was going to bring change to the union and how they do things and be more transparent. But, apparently maybe change takes a little longer. Some old habits are hard to break. It happens. I hope they sort it out. And hopefully, I believe there have been some former presidents of the union that have actually gone to jail. And hopefully he's not one of them. So,
that's why it's really, you got to be kidding me. We come off of a year where these big kind of landmark deals are struck.
Yes.
And then only, 6 months later, a year later, under investigation for corruption. It's like, yeah, this is not just an auto. Which UAW represents not even just auto workers. They represent beyond auto workers.
Yes.
Many industries. And so these organizations always end up in the headlines and not a good look Wonder if we'll get a Facebook live stream from him talking about this, because that's how he was doing the negotiating with the big three. From Fly Chomper Fly, thank you. Shane barely got elected, and lots of people. Fane barely got elected, and lots of people don't like him, trying to undermine him. So yeah, could be that as well. Could be some ulterior motives that are playing a role in this as well.
Time will
All right,
tell.
Dad. We'll be back tomorrow. Friday's show. Excited for that. Another week almost in the books.
Yeah.
You want to do collared shirts tomorrow? I can remember.
Well, if you remind me, yeah. I mean, and I wore this green T-shirt. I know it might look blue, but it's actually,
it looks blue.
Yeah, it's actually a seafoam green. And I wore this, and I thought, well, I have the perfect collared shirt to put over this. And I probably still do, and it's probably still in my closet. Well, it's not probably, it is for sure, definitely still in my closet, and will remain there for the rest of the day. So, but yeah, remind me in the morning that that I have to wear a collared shirt, and I will.
Absolutely will do. 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. here on the East Coast. Tune in tomorrow. And also check out the channel, guys. We got new headshots and new photos, new banners. We would love for everyone to look at that. And thank you, Polyglocks, for keeping us on another minute here. An incredibly kind and generous contribution. Yes. Helped a friend get a 2021 Mazda CX-9 with 29,000 miles. Did deal school, and all the scenarios came up. I told them 3 times OTD price or I'm walking. Paid $30,599 out the door with gap insurance with our own financing. Thank you for all her info. That's Deal School is also 100% free. CarEdge.com/Deal School. Use that just like Polyglocks did to help their friend. Congratulations and job well done.
Can I say one thing about the new headshots? The one thing that would improve mine is if I had a new head. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there.
We'll be back tomorrow, folks. I love you, Dad. Enjoy the afternoon. We'll see you then.
I love you as well. Thank you for putting up with my nonsense on a daily basis.
Always, Dad. Love you.
Yeah, love you too. I'll see you later.